You just want to sign in, and instead you are picking out traffic lights. You solve it, the page reloads and asks again, and then the next account in your fleet does the exact same thing an hour later. It feels like bad luck, like the platform woke up in a mood and decided to make your day slower. It isn't. A captcha is not a random puzzle you happen to draw. It is a verdict, handed down before a single square ever appeared on your screen. Today is why your fleet drowns in captchas and what a captcha is really measuring about your address, your fingerprint, and your pace long before you click one tile. Why I stopped treating captchas as bad luck? I run proxy and cloud phone farms and manage large fleets of separate identities, and for a long time I treated a wall of captchas the way everyone does, as noise, as the platform being annoying. That was a mistake. A fleet that drowns in challenges is not unlucky. It is being told something specific and useful about its own identities. Once I started reading the challenges, instead of cursing them, they stopped being an obstacle and became the clearest free feedback I get about how machine-like my accounts actually look from the other side. A captcha is a score, not a puzzle. Here is the thing almost nobody is told. The picture picking is theater. The real decision was already made before the challenge appeared. Modern systems read a quiet risk score on every request, and they only bother showing you a hard puzzle once that score is already bad. The squares are not the test, they are the tax, the price of a suspicion you had already earned by the time the box loaded. Solving them is you paying off a judgment, not passing a fresh exam. What the score actually reads? So the useful question is what the score is reading, and it comes down to three big things. The address, meaning the IP you arrive on, and the reputation of the network it sits inside. The environment, meaning the browser or device fingerprint you present. And the behavior, meaning your pace and rhythm, how you move and how fast. When a challenge fires, the platform is saying the signals so far added up to maybe not a real person. Now prove me wrong. Everything you can do to lower your challenge rate lies inside those three inputs. The address is the loudest signal. The address speaks first, and it speaks loudest. Arrive on a data center IP or an abused proxy pool, and you can draw a challenge on the very first request, before you have typed a single character or clicked a single thing. A shared and dirty IP means you inherit every stranger's sins, every scraper and bot that used that same address before you. This is the whole reason a clean sticky mobile or residential IP is the single biggest lever you have. Fix the address, and a huge share of the challenges simply never fire. Shared proxies mean shared punishment. It follows that a shared proxy is shared punishment. If 100 other people are hammering requests through the same pool you are on, the platform reads that IP as a machine and gates everyone standing behind it, you included, no matter how careful you personally were. The fix is not clever, it is structural. One identity on its own clean address means your reputation is genuinely your own, earned by your own behavior, instead of a crowd's rep sheet that you got handed for free the moment you borrowed their IP. The fingerprint decides how human the browser looks. The second input is the fingerprint, and it decides how human your browser or device looks at a glance. A headless or automated browser, a set of signals that contradict each other, or a fingerprint you have quietly reused across 10 accounts, each one nudges the score toward bot, and the captcha shows up to collect. A real and consistent fingerprint, one per identity, does the opposite. It lets the browser read as an ordinary person's machine, which is exactly the thing the score was built to wave through without a second look. Behavior and pace are the third leg. The third leg is behavior, and it is the one people forget because it feels invisible. Hammering requests, filling a form in a flat instant, timing that is a little too perfect, a cursor that never wanders, none of that is how a human actually moves. Speed is the tell. A real person is slow, distracted, slightly clumsy. Slowing your fleet down is not superstition, and it is not magic. It is you deliberately lowering the one score input you control most directly, moment to moment, without buying anything at all. Why the whole fleet drowns at once? Now you can see why the whole fleet drowns together instead of one account at a time. When many of your identities share an address or a fingerprint pattern or the same mechanical rhythm, the platform quietly scores them as one machine wearing many names, and it challenges them as a group. A fleet-wide capture storm is rarely random. It is usually a fleet-wide linking signal you can finally see with your own eyes, a sign that the accounts you thought were separate are bleeding the same tail. The captcha is also a linking probe, and the challenge itself is doing double duty. because how you answer is data too. The same solver form clicking for all your accounts, the same behavior, the same timing on the puzzle across the fleet, all of it ties those accounts back together. The Captcha pretends to be a simple "are you human" check, but while you solve it, it is quietly collecting one more fingerprint of the thing on the other side. Answer 20 accounts the same mechanical way, and you have just linked 20 accounts with your own hands. Solver services treat the symptom, not the cause. This is why paying a Captcha solving service is treating a symptom and calling it a cure. A solver farm clears the one wall in front of you, while the score that raised the wall stays exactly as bad as it was or quietly gets worse. So you pay, and you pay again, and you keep getting flagged because the dirty IP, the bot fingerprint, and the robotic paste that summoned the challenge in the first place were never touched. Worse, a farm that answers thousands of puzzles the same way is its own loud pattern, so leaning on one can raise the very score you were trying to hide from. You have bought a way to keep clicking squares forever, not a way to stop being asked. What actually lowers the challenge rate? What actually lowers the rate is boring and it works. Fix the inputs, not the output, a clean per identity address, an honest and consistent fingerprint, a human pace, and real isolation so one account's trouble does not spill onto the next. A real device on a real carrier IP barely gets challenged, not because it is hiding anything, but because it looks exactly like the ordinary person the score was designed to trust. You are not defeating the system, you are simply stopping tripping it. Where cloud phones quietly win, and this is where cloud phones quietly win the whole argument. A real phone on a real mobile carrier IP with a genuine device fingerprint and actual human touch input is close to the most trusted shape a score can see. The exact challenges that better a data center browser all day rarely bother firing on it, because on paper and in behavior, it is indistinguishable from a normal person holding a normal phone in a normal city. The address is a real carrier, the fingerprint is a real handset, the taps are real taps, so there is almost nothing left for the score to be suspicious of. For the accounts I least want stopped, that is where I keep them. On the profile the score already believes. Warm the account so the score already trusts you. Trust also builds over time, so warm the account instead of sprinting it. An older, well-behaved identity signing in from a stable home gets a lighter touch and fewer challenges because it has a track record the platform can lean on. A cold account from a brand new address, acting fast on day one, gets the hard puzzle every time because it has given the score nothing to trust yet. Patience is not just about avoiding a ban, it literally buys you a quieter, less interrupted account down the line. Don't fight the Captcha, read it, so stop fighting the Captcha and start reading it. A sudden spike in challenges is a diagnostic, a free warning light telling you which of your 3 inputs just went bad. A new IP that carries a worse reputation, a fingerprint that shifted after an update, a pace that got greedy when you weren't watching. Treat the storm as information, not insult. 9 times out of 10, it is pointing straight at the exact thing you changed right before the walls went up. If you are willing to look, the line I will not cross with you. Let me be clear about the line, because this topic sits near a bad one. This is not about defeating challenges that protect real people from fraud, spam, and abuse, and it is not a trick for getting past security you have no business getting past. I am not going to help you break a wall that is there to stop harm. This is about your own legitimate accounts not being mistaken for bots simply because the stack underneath them was dirty. Keeping your real identities from looking machine-made is housekeeping. Tearing down protection meant for other people is not, and I will not pretend those are the same thing. The honest limit, and keep all of it in proportion, because no stack on earth makes Captchas vanish. A platform can challenge anyone, anytime, for reasons it will never show you, and sometimes a clean account still draws a puzzle for nothing you did wrong. Clean inputs lower the rate, they do not zero it, and they never will. Anyone selling you a setup that promises you will never see a Captcha again is selling you a story, because the challenge is theirs to fire whenever they feel like it, no matter how tidy your address, your fingerprint, and your pace happen to be. I keep every identity on its own clean, sticky mobile IP, a real per identity fingerprint, and a human pace, and the accounts I least want stopped live on cloud phones, where a real device on a carrier address is already the shape the score trusts most. I run Singapore mobile proxy and cloud phone farms myself, so when I point you at the proxies or cloud phones I use to keep my own challenge rate low, You are seeing the real stack I run, not an affiliate guess. The full written guides and tested picks are at multi-account ops. Including what a captcha is really measuring, how I read a challenge spike as a diagnostic instead of an insult, and honest write-ups of the proxies and cloud phones I actually run. If your fleet has been drowning in squares and you thought it was bad luck, this is the habit: to build, read the challenge, fix the input, and stop paying a tax you earned by accident. Subscribe for more honest, tested multi-account ops. Next time, the sensors and permissions a mobile app quietly reads, the signals a browser never sees, and why your cloud phone has to answer them like a real device sitting in a real pocket.